One thing just about everyone in the Star Wars universe can agree on is that you don't want to wind up on the business end of a lightsaber. But as deadly as these weapons seem, some have lived to tell the tale of being attacked with one. When The Phantom Menace premiered in 1999, the only thing that just about every Star Wars fan could agree on was that Darth Maul was one of the best parts of the movie. His signature look frightened younger audiences, and his double-bladed lightsaber changed the game forever. Though he doesn't say a whole lot, Maul's commanding presence makes the character work. That final Duel of the Fates sequence at the climax of the film proved to all that this Sith apprentice was a force to be reckoned with. After killing Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn in brutal combat, Maul nearly dispatches a young Obi-Wan Kenobi as well. Pinning our hero down, Maul taunts Kenobi, kicking his lightsaber into the abyss. However, Obi-Wan surprises Maul and cuts the Sith literally in two, sending him down into the void. For years, it seemed as if Maul was dead, though some Star Wars legend stories claimed he survived. This led to his eventual resurrection in Star Wars The Clone Wars, where it was revealed that Maul, now a cyborg, remained alive. Voiced by Sam Witwer, Maul lived on with an intense hatred for Kenobi and confronted his nemesis on numerous occasions. Maul also led the Crimson Dawn criminal syndicate depicted in Solo, but was soon sidetracked by his revenge. Eventually, Maul was officially killed by Kenobi in Star Wars Rebels, having finally found peace. Few have gone through as much pain and suffering in the Star Wars universe as Anakin Skywalker. Be it emotional turmoil or physical deterioration, Anakin has undergone enough hardship to last 2 lifetimes. For this reason, it's somewhat fitting that he lived out 2 lives, one as a Jedi Knight and the other as a Sith Lord. In Attack of the Clones, Anakin and Obi-Wan engage the Sith Lord Count Dooku in battle, and though the young Padawan has undergone rigorous training, he was unprepared for this match. As Master and Apprentice tackled the Sith, Dooku gained the upper hand and took Anakin's arm off below the elbow. Sending the Padawan backward, Dooku would have finished the job had Master Yoda not arrived in time to fend off the Sith Lord. Gaining a cybernetic limb, Anakin recovers from his wound, using his newfound robotic parts to his advantage during the Clone Wars. He even returns a favor to Dooku twofold, by removing both of the Sith Lord's hands before decapitating him in Revenge of the Sith.
It is only natural. He cut off your arm, and you wanted revenge.
Unfortunately for the young Jedi, later in the film, Anakin takes on his former master on the volcanic planet Mustafar. After a long duel, Kenobi gains the high ground, removing both of Anakin's legs and his remaining arm in the process. By the film's end, Anakin is given more cybernetic replacements, having now become the Lord Vader we all know. Technically, Vader also lost yet another arm to his son Luke in Return of the Jedi, though he didn't live for very long afterward. In The Empire Strikes Back, Luke arrives at Cloud City to save his friends from Vader's force-choking grasp, only to learn that the entire thing is a setup. Cornered by the Sith Lord, Luke strikes back and even lands a blow on Vader's armor. However, it isn't enough, and soon Vader overpowers him, taking his right hand in the process. Just as Anakin lost his arm to a Sith Lord in his youth, Luke loses his hand to Darth Vader. It's here that Vader attempts to sway Luke to the dark side and reveals the young Jedi's true parentage.
No, I am your father.
Thankfully, Luke doesn't succumb to the same temptations from either his father or the Emperor that Anakin once did. Instead, he resists, finding refuge in his love for his friends. However, like his father, Luke receives a cybernetic replacement as a result. His wound, paired with the capture of his friend Han Solo, serves as a powerful motivator, and Luke acquires all the skills necessary to become a full-fledged Jedi Knight by the events of Return of the Jedi. Luke soon establishes a new Jedi Order, and by the sequel trilogy, he remains unscarred any further, at least physically, thus removing his destiny from that of his father. It may be surprising to learn that Obi-Wan Kenobi has suffered some pretty deadly lightsaber wounds, but fans of the Star Wars prequel trilogy will likely remember these scars well. During the same battle with Count Dooku that resulted in Anakin's arm being chopped off, Obi-Wan too was singed by the red blade of the Sith Lord. Early in the battle, Skywalker is incapacitated with Force lightning, forcing Kenobi to face off against the Sith Lord alone. Given that this is the second Sith he's faced, his training proves true, and the Jedi Knight fends off Dooku for quite a while. Unfortunately for Kenobi, Dooku does eventually prevail and cuts him deep in the arm and the leg. It is after Obi-Wan is injured that Anakin faces the Count again before losing his arm. Yoda then must rescue the 2 younger Jedi. Of course, this isn't the only lightsaber wound that Obi-Wan endures. In the original Star Wars film A New Hope, old Ben Kenobi faces off against Darth Vader, sacrificing himself to give Luke and his friends the chance to escape. Though it's debatable if the blade actually touches old Ben or if he just disintegrates into the Force, he returns as a spirit in the sequel nonetheless. One of the primary antagonists from the animated Star Wars Rebels, the Grand Inquisitor is at the top of the food chain among the Force-sensitive Jedi assassins known as the Empire's Inquisitorius. Having been once trained as a Jedi Temple guard, the Grand Inquisitor fell to the dark side and joined the Galactic Empire after the end of the Clone Wars, committing himself fully to the service of the Empire. Allied with Darth Vader, the Grand Inquisitor helped exterminate Jedi all over, at least until the events of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. In the Disney Plus show, the Grand Inquisitor is seemingly killed after he's betrayed by Reva, also known as the Third Sister, who shoves her lightsaber through him in order to surpass him in power. As a result, Reva is given his title and he's seemingly forgotten. However, it's later revealed that he survived due to his thirst for vengeance. Eventually, the Grand Inquisitor is given back his title, serving under Darth Vader once more.
Revenge does wonders for the will to live, don't you think?
Since Rebels takes place after the events of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Grand Inquisitor eventually allows himself to die in a battle with Ezra Bridger and Kanan Jarrus. Later on, it's revealed that his spirit was redeemed, and he becomes known as the Sentinel, a spiritual ally to the Jedi. Speaking of Inquisitors, Reva too survived a lightsaber wound. Even more impressively, she survived mortal combat with Darth Vader himself, twice. In Obi-Wan Kenobi, we learn that Reva was a youngling at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant when Order 66 was given, and she faced down against Anakin Skywalker as he slaughtered her peers. Somehow, she survived being stabbed by the former Jedi Knight and grew to hate him. Deducing that Skywalker and Vader were one and the same, she planned to assassinate him for revenge. As Reva and Vader battle, we see the full scope of the Sith Lord's power. Eventually, the Dark Lord stabs her again, seemingly killing her, now for the second time. However, she doesn't die. Somehow, Reva's rage and connection to the dark side of the Force keep her from death, and she soon flees to Tatooine to kill Vader's only son. Thankfully, she decides against slaughtering a young boy in the same way that Vader once attempted to kill her, leaving her story open to be revisited again. Of all the characters on this list, Reva's survival is arguably the most outlandish. It's one thing to survive a lightsaber wound as an adult, but as a young child, it seems just a little far-fetched. Perhaps the Force or the Obi-Wan Kenobi showrunners have big plans for her in coming Star Wars installments. Originally a main character from the animated Star Wars Rebels, Sabine Wren is a Mandalorian-turned-Jedi apprentice who goes on a quest to find her long-lost friend Ezra Bridger in the Disney Plus series Ahsoka. Having been trained in the Jedi arts by Ahsoka Tano in the years between Rebels and the Ahsoka series, Sabine and her former master parted ways some time ago. However, when Ahsoka needs her help finding Ezra, Sabine jumps back into the fight. Unfortunately for our heroes, they're not the only ones in need of the map that will help them find Ezra. It turns out the device will also help some Empire sympathizers find Grand Admiral Thrawn. To get it back, Dark Jedi apprentice Shin Hati surprises Sabine, stealing the map and engaging in a lightsaber duel. During the battle, Shin stabs Sabine through the gut, leaving her for dead. Though it might have been easy to assume the worst, the opening of the very next episode reveals that somehow Sabine survived, with only a small scar to show for it. Strangely, unlike others who have survived such intense lightsaber wounds, Sabine seems to have needed no cybernetic implants. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen, but given the intensity of the injury, it seems like there should have been some major repercussions. After all, it's the same wounds that killed Qui-Gon Jinn in The Phantom Menace. The only non-Force user on this list, General Grievous is a cyborg and a major figure in the Confederacy of Independent Systems. A serious thorn in our hero's sides throughout the Clone Wars, Grievous actually first appeared in the original animated Star Wars Clone Wars series ahead of the release of Revenge of the Sith. By Episode 3, General Grievous was known as a notorious Jedi killer who would collect their blades as trophies.
Your lightsabers will make a fine addition to my collection.
Although he's a major player in the animated Star Wars The Clone Wars, Grievous's first feature film appearance also marks his end. However, he doesn't die at the wrong end of a Jedi's blade. As a cyborg, Grievous has the ability to withstand plenty of physical damage, even lightsaber strikes. While hiding out in a cave on a faraway planet, Grievous is hunted down by Obi-Wan Kenobi, who engages with the cyborg and his droid army. In the battle, Obi-Wan successfully chops off 2 of the General's 4 cybernetic limbs. Though he suffers no true injury, the loss of his hands reduces his effectiveness. Eventually, Kenobi does kill General Grievous, but not with his lightsaber. After losing his lightsaber in the battle, Obi-Wan uses a blaster to dispatch the Separatist leader. Despite his grisly death during the same conflict, it's not the lightsaber that kills him. making General Grievous one of the most durable cyborgs in the galaxy. Good thing Obi-Wan took him out when he did. A direct descendant of Darth Vader himself, Ben Solo fought to walk in the same footsteps as his grandfather. After believing his uncle, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, tried to kill him, Ben finds refuge with Supreme Leader Snoke, a clone puppet controlled by the resurrected Palpatine. After changing his name to Kylo Ren, Ben became the new face of the First Order. 30 years after the end of the Empire, the First Order had left its mark on the galaxy, and the New Republic had all but vanished. However, a new hero rose up to battle against the dark side, Rey. A young Force-sensitive woman who actually turns out to be the daughter of a clone of Palpatine, Rey forms a strange bond with Kylo Ren that turns slowly into something more. Even after their battle in The Rise of Skywalker ends with Rey stabbing Ren through the gut, that bond remains. Using a Force healing technique, Rey keeps Kylo Ren from death, fighting to resurrect Ben Solo as well. Thankfully, she does, and the two of them take on Palpatine together. However, Ben eventually returns a favor to his friend, giving his life in exchange for Rey's. Okay, this one is a bit of a stretch, but Qui-Gon Jinn continues to live on in some form long after plenty of other Jedi have perished completely, so we thought it would be fair to give him some credit here. Primarily appearing in The Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon trained Obi-Wan since he was a boy, and plans to train a young Anakin Skywalker as well. Unfortunately, those plans were foiled by the Sith after the Trade Federation invaded Naboo. As we already know, Darth Maul duels with Jinn and Kenobi before they're separated, and fatally stabs Qui-Gon in the gut. Qui-Gon dies shortly thereafter, but not before making Obi-Wan swear to train Anakin as a Jedi. It's not until the very end of Revenge of the Sith that Qui-Gon is mentioned again, when Yoda reveals to Obi-Wan that his old master has found a way to reach out from beyond the grave. At the end of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Qui-Gon finally reappears to his former apprentice, ready to teach him the secret ways of the Force so that he too might one day join him in the afterlife. Admittedly, Qui-Gon doesn't technically survive his lightsaber wound, but the fact that he learns to make himself into an immortal spirit following his death definitely gives him an edge.